Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm gonna be hopping back into the 10-minute pool. I was thinking of maybe changing up the time controls. I don't know, maybe we'll do it. But one thing I'm not changing up is my opening. I'm gonna be sticking with the French defense. I feel like this has been working out really well for me. And every single time, I get to face a different variation. Now, this is some gambit. I always think of it as the ready gambit. This is strange to me. Usually, white gambit's the pawn. So this is not even a gambit. This is just a bad position because the bishop no longer makes sense here, even if you get a knight all the way to this square and it's supported. Okay, what is happening? I think this is also called the Papa Diculat gambit. It has some name. Now, how do I actually exploit this structure? So the opponent is probably playing with c4 later. Um, huh. E-file is open. I feel like my position's actually better because my bishop at some point can come out to one of these two natural squares. Now, a normal, sane person would just develop their knight here. I'm going to take some time. I actually want to think if there's any way I can actually punish b3. I don't know. Well, I think for starters, I mean, this is just a sane move. And if this bishop ever comes out over here, he might end up weak on these squares. What is this? What are these moves? So, I mean, you're begging for me to just pin you. And that's going to force you to go here, I suspect. Because if I pin you and you go here, who am I playing? Ah, he's 800 in bullet. How many? This is his classical. He's played quite a lot. It's 2,000 rapid games. I'm so confused. So I'm either going to pin this guy, or I'm going to threaten to win the game by playing like c6, which would allow this, and then even if here, I can go here. But maybe this is not quite winning because he can always go back. Let's go ahead and pin this knight. This cannot be too wrong. And it does force this. So now, his next move is h3. So I can play bishop h3 myself. We're getting funky with it. And then at some moment, if this bishop ever moves away, this will win. Could also allow h3. Also, I should worry about this, which actually defends this pawn. So if I play this and he plays here right away, maybe this is not actually so good for me at all. I imagine I'm going to play some line where if he plays h3, maybe I'm taking this at some moment. I probably throw this check in, see how he wants to defend. But maybe I'm taking and getting active, because maybe my queen can come in quite quickly. He's a long way from castling. Also, just c6 with the idea that I could go here makes a lot of sense. But I will not be predicting any of my opponent's moves. It appears wild. So I'm trying to combine this with this idea. And the fact that I can remove at least one defender of this square seems amazing. But why would I not start with this? You go somewhere, I give check. I guess that's all kind of the same. I start with a check. And if you put something on e2, we're going to do everything we can to attack e2. This queen goes here. This bishop goes here. He blocks with a knight. I failed to predict it. I don't know. Not sure what is happening. This is an interesting move, but he does have castles. Now this could be stronger, but this guy is also going to remove a defender of this guy. Just how do I attack it a couple more times? If I start with this, this is not a threat because we just take back defending our bishop, and that just cannot possibly work. If we go here, does he have to play a move like h3? Will he be able to castle? Shouldn't let him castle. c5 is also an interesting move. He probably castles, though. But then I have queen a5. But if you take, for example, I'm pushing, and that's going to lead to bad things. I'm actually going to play c5 here. I'm giving up on my idea of trying to crush e2. I will not be shocked if this is somehow a very good move. But I didn't know what to do after knight to b5. He does castle, which I think is right. And my idea is to go out here. Not exactly yet threatening to win anything. I am gambiting a pawn. But, I mean, come on. At some point, White's not going to be able to get away with it. I just haven't put my finger on exactly why. I hope he takes this, because that'll be fun. I think at minimum I can take everything. And then just start gaining even more time. Get my knight out on the next move. And I'd at least have all of my stuff out. And he put his bishop over here. So I'm going to constantly look for sneaking pieces in. Would be really nice to have a knight in the action. Because at some point this knight will like move away and I'll have options of giving checks and maneuvering this knight in. Somehow we need to get some rooks into the game. Sensible enough. Sensible enough. Does this move work? So I'm looking for tactics. Otherwise, I'm going to look first for tactics. Backup plan, just keep developing pieces. I mean, developing pieces in some line I'm sure is fine. This knight actually can't move. I mean, knight c6 is so good, but let's quickly look at this move. And one idea is that if you take, I can take back. Maybe there you can take this. Both of our queens are attacked. It's probably a good... I think everything's good for me. Why not just be sane and play here? And if your knight ever takes this, I get to calculate either winning this piece, but allowing him to take on f6, or I play knight to c6. He takes... I mean, just taking back. Actually, you just take back right away, because that defends the bishop. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a very good move, at the least. And now I'm actually attacking this d4 pawn. I'm reserving this as a potential option. I mean, come on. This has got to work out for me. All right, he is worried about this, so he has to waste even more time. But now I can take here, and how does he keep this bishop defended? Also, this protects this pawn more. So let's find out. I should just be winning this. Because if you just go somewhere relatively safe, I just take. If you go here, I can just take back. If you go there, I take this knight. And I attack your queen. So we should be winning now. This is going to go down as one of the weirder games I've played in recent memory. I feel like, why in the rapid pool is everything so much weirder? It doesn't make any sense that people should play weirder in rapid. Maybe just here? Shouldn't people play like a lot better in rapid? I don't know. I'm having kind of a fun time though in the rapid pool. I hop back and attack the queen. I'm trying to go for here. He doesn't move his queen somewhere that protects the knight, so I take the knight. It's as simple as that. Maybe that's, I don't know. Is that other people's experience? This was a 14 move win. I do want to take a look. This is a very interesting gambit. I do want to spend just a little bit of time analyzing it. Maybe there were some mistakes. Maybe I could have played even better. But after d5, what usually happens is white sacrifices this pawn. And on Lichess, it's called the Papa Ticulat Gambit. I kind of know it as the Ready Gambit, but whatever you want to call it, the B3 Gambit against the French. It's a very interesting thing. You can see computer says it's about equal. And there's two options. You can decline the gambit, but if you accept, the point from white's point of view is that you're going to develop stuff, you're going to keep attacking this thing, and at some moment, you should be able to attack it. This knight, at some point, you're going to be able to get it back. Like, let's see, the exact theory, I always like to just double check going after it. It becomes something where you're probably going to get this pawn back. So it's not a very scary gambit, but it's also just kind of an interesting setup. It's not necessarily the best setup for white, but there's also ideas of sometimes playing like g4, maybe here, maybe earlier, but at some point you can play like g4 to try to attack this guy, get this bishop out on this diagonal. It can get wild. It can get to become a very interesting gambit. We did not get to see that because my opponent took. And finally, after 3 hard-fought moves, I have a better position than the opponent. But did I punish it correctly? d4 was played. Computer says a lot of moves are good. Knight to f6 makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to see if anybody else in the database is playing anything else. This was played in one master game, actually. Knight to f6 was played. This cannot be right. I played bishop to b4 pinning, and you can't really play bishop here. This would just simply run into something like this. And how do you defend this guy? It's not so easy. I guess queen to f3 would do it. Queen g5 is actually what the computer says. This is wild. I think they'd have to like castle, but then castling. Oh, castling is not legal. Oh, I'm on the square. It took me a second there to figure out why castling was not legal. I'm like, oh, you castle and you run into this. No, actually, castling is illegal. I'll have to double check the rule book on that one, but Lichess seems to say that is the case. I got castled queen e7. This could always be played here or at some other time. I figured this would happen, castles, and I thought this would be similar to what was played in the game, but maybe it was a little bit more accurate to continue that way. And now after queen f3, he's actually officially lost. He's never going to be able to castle. I'm never going to give him the time. c5. This was actually the correct move. And I was hoping he would go for something very greedy like this, where I'd be able to expose this king. And then I'm certain something very good is going to be happening for me without seeing anything directly. Instead, he gets castled. Bishop g4 is given. This is not what I played. I played here, which is not horrible. More direct is attacking this immediately. If the queen comes out to f4, then you take here. This is a hard move to see and play. You won't be able to go back on this. You're actually just winning this thing. So this wins in exchange. Although the computer starts by taking here, attacking this, but at some point it looks like we're going to be taking this rook. Okay, so there was just an opportunity to win material. I'm happy with what I did, because I think the pressure here is just so strong that I don't even know if I saw that line, I'm not sure I would even have done it. Because I'm not trying to win in exchange. I'm trying to absolutely crush you here. I bring out my piece. Here's where I actually wanted to think. And, I mean, obviously this is a very good move. But this is kind of where I wanted to slow down and think for a second. Bishop to g4. Queen d3. Keeping an eye on kind of everything makes some sense. Yeah, at some point this stuff is going to happen. But maybe white defends a little bit better in a line like this. This is obviously fantastic for black. I'm happy with what I did. This worked out really well. And after this, he should just be losing a piece. The computer just leaves the knight there, plays some other random moves. A3 is a funny random move. I attacked the queen. I was looking at this. I'm not sure exactly why it works. If takes, I guess I remove this and then I go here, and that turns out to be very strong. I can believe it. I was hoping, depending on where the queen went, that I would be able to, at some point, get my bishop here and go after this pawn. Thought about sacking, but I didn't see anything during the game. So I went back, I attacked the queen, forced her away, and then just won material. So if you like that, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've been playing a lot of chess lately, and I play some other games, so I hope you do it. See you later.